To answer your question very short, I knew right at the moment that I took my first composition course at Wilfrid Laurier University at the age of almost 30. But how I got there was a longer story because there was something that I always knew I wanted to do with music. My dad used to travel a lot around the world, and we had a very huge collection of cassettes of music from everywhere. Gamelan music, traditional Chinese music, Spanish music of flamenco dancers, the orchestral music of Ravel, Persian music, pop music. We had a huge collection, and my parents still to this day, they play music all the time. From morning they wake up, especially on holidays and weekends. From the moments that they can bear it, the music is always going on, but not only one kind of music. So I was born in such a family. I remember there was this huge loudspeaker that I was crawling and I wanted to grasp the sound. I thought the sound comes from it and I could take it without not knowing you can't take the sound. So that was my very early experiment with the sound and the different kind of the sounds that I could hear and explore. And then I started to hear things and I could play them back on anybody's instrument. Whenever an instrument is there, I can play back things that I can hear. So my dad bought me a piano and I started to have my official piano lessons at the age of 8. Of course, it's after revolution. Piano is a very like a luxury instrument. I am having my private lessons. There's no school that teaches piano. So everything is kind of inside the family life, not public. And the love of music is always continue. If there is a concert we go to, sometimes there are orchestral music, and I notice the moment the musicians start to play, I cry, and I didn't know why. It was like this longing to something. I didn't know what it is. I didn't understand. Then I started to compose, but in my head, not knowing how to notate the music. Like I had an uncle who was a very famous author, and he used to write a lot of poems, and he shares with me his poem, and I'm like singing it as we are like walking, for example, or mountain climbing, and all of a sudden I'm like singing this song, and he likes it. And then it's forgotten because I went to university and I became an engineer. Then I came to Canada. We immigrated to Canada. In Iran, because of the after revolution and educational system, I never got the chance to have an academic training on music. I don't want to get into why. A lot of things were banned. A lot of things were not at one time. So it was not a right time, right place. I immigrated and came to Canada. And at the moment you want to leave your home country, there is this huge fear of asking yourself, who am I? Why am I here? What am I looking for? What's the destiny? And why am I alive? What's my calling? What am I born to do? What's my legacy? What's the reason I live? And that moment was one of the moments that I knew, okay, I want to go and I want to have an academic training on music and explore music. But I thought maybe I become a performer. Maybe I become a music educator. And I came to Canada and I started that. On my first year of being a music student, we had the option to take as many as courses from different disciplines in music. So I took conducting course, choral course, singing course, and I took composition course. On the way that, I'm just gonna put this on pause and going back, on the airplane, when I was coming to Canada, in my head, there was this tune being played. la 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 la, which I called it my nostalgic say goodbye homeland tune, not knowing what happens in the future. Back to my school, I took my first composition course with Dr. Peter Hatch at University of Wilfrid Laurier University in 2003. And our first assignment was to notate a music for flute. And this music that I called the lament, that I had in my head, I wrote it down. I tried to notate it for the first time. And then somebody else played it on his flute. Jeff Stonehouse, he's a very famous performer now. He performed it on the stage, and that moment I was like, home. Oh, this is the home. This is me. This is who I am, and that's what I should do. And the story started since then. It's not a good life. I mean, it is a good life, obviously, but it's hard. It's the hardest path one can ever take. So if you want me to encourage kids to...
Well, I think
it's hard.
I
it needs a bravery.
So, like, you can touch upon, because you were an engineer when you came here, right? You studied engineering.
Yeah,
and then you changed what would be regarded as a stable, career, income,
yes.
Exactly. And then you left that
yes.
to pursue, to be a composer, which is, they're very opposite in its way. So you chose your passion over what I guess you would call practical, which
yes.
is, being, so
yeah.
your life as a composer.
Yeah.
I guess, like, from speaking to you, you're very passionate about it.
Yeah.
So you live with a lot of passion and inspiration. And I guess, that is the life of a composer. You're happy, but there's also a tough side. So I guess there's two sides to each coin.
There is the dark side of moon.
Exactly.
Do you know that moon really have a side that we haven't ever seen? Like this part that we see?
Yeah.
And there's,
So you can, give us the realities, the brutal realities, but also the beautifulness
mm-hmm.
of the world of being a composer.
To choose to be a composer, you need a certain bravery and courage, because the path of being a composer is very different than being in other disciplines. Maybe this is general for all the artists and art disciplines, but I can only talk as a composer. It's walking into unknown, not knowing what's in front of you. It's like the life itself. There is no predictability, not only for the creation process, but the whole career. You won't know when you get a commission. You won't know what's going to be your income. So if you want to take this path, you need to think about other ways of income and be smart about it. For example, I teach and I work hard to have a stable income, but then that takes the hours from my creativity. So it's a very juggling act to be a composer and to have other jobs for your income. And it's all about the balance of your health, mental health, and the balance of your energy, the balance of your physical health, as well as the obviously stability that everyone needs for the basic living, which is an income. So that's the most challenging part, and obviously it goes up and down, depends on which culture you're from, and believing in self. And not only waiting to create when commissions arrive. It's just creativity is like a spring. It is there without you want it or not. It's given to you. It's part of you. It's I always compare creators, composers to little gods. You have the ability to create nothing and manifest it to the physical world. So it's a very powerful medium to to send a message, to say something, to do a change. You can use your creativity. It's just accept yourself. Sometimes it's very scary, but then have the bravery to walk into the path of unknown. But if you have the faith to that, whoever has given it to you is like biological being, or your being, your essence is that. If the existence and universe has given this creativity to you, just take it, because the existence and universe will guide you itself. That, like a spring water that goes down, you will find your path, hopefully to a bigger ocean, or to reach to somewhere. But don't think about where to reach. It's just the journey that is important.